You were young and your heart was an open book. You used to say, live and let live. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did.
Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Welcome today to the review of a piece that allows me to play 15 seconds of Paul McCartney in the intro. Who knew that that would ever happen? And welcome to the review of a piece that is unlike anything that I've reviewed on this channel up to this point. This Liv GX chronograph is big, it's modern, and it's bold, much like the company themselves. This is one of not one, not two, not three, but 4 watches that they currently have live on Kickstarter. Now that displays a certain degree of confidence in your product. Let's flip the camera and see if that confidence is warranted. So let's start by having a look at the Kickstarter campaign then, the world's boldest Swiss automatic diver's watch ever. Take a look at that though. 810,000 Australian dollars pledged so far. That's 20 times their initial goal, and it still has 18 days to go. I reckon with a bit of luck this one will crack 1 million US dollars. Quite remarkable for a Kickstarter campaign. So let's have a quick look at these 4 different models. The first one, the cheapest one, is this GX analog alarm. It's a quartz piece, Swiss movement but made in Germany, $290. Kind of big thing. If you want the looks but don't quite have the funds for an auto, then there's your entry level into the Liv range. The one I actually asked to have a look at was this Genesis Diver, ETA 2824 powered. Again, it doesn't look like anything else I've seen on the channel before, $490. Perhaps I'll get a look at one of those a little later on. What I did get was this Genesis Auto Chrono. This is a Sellita SW500 powered chronograph here, a 30-minute, 12-hour chronograph with 100 meters of water resistance and a big chunky case available in a variety of different finishes. Or at the top of the campaign here is a pilot's watch. Again, chrono available in titanium or steel at $990 US dollars. So on to the watch then, and what do you get for your $790 US dollars with this GX Auto Chrono? Well, when it arrived to me last week, it looked very well packaged, nicely done here. You get a personal message from Chaz. Hi Chaz. You also get a certificate of authenticity, advocating the fact that this one is a limited edition, and an important notice about making sure you screw down your crown if you take this one in water. They should probably add, don't use the chrono underwater unless you want to ruin your timepiece. It looked rather complete then, it looked rather fully formed. There was a nice little Liv polishing cloth and a tag here. It clearly didn't look like a prototype. And I asked Liv and they said this was a pre-production sample. So again, there's some confidence for you. If you're taking your designs that stage further, you're going beyond prototype, knowing that they're going to sell well, you're getting these pre-production samples out to reviewers. So, dare to live indeed. And there it is. And what a chunky big unit of a watch we've got for review today. Well, I really haven't looked at anything that looks anything like this one before, that's for sure. And it's a big boy, 46mm in diameter. Although if you take it across to the crown, you're looking at a diameter of over 50mm. We have got a lug tip to lug tip of 55mm today, and just under 16mm thick though. Normally that would be considered thick, but in this set of dimensions, it's one of the smaller ones. We have a slightly unusual 23mm lug width today, tapering down to 20mm at the clasp. Now, Liv quote the weight of this chrono model as 141 grams. I measure it as 10 grams over that on the supplied shark leather strap at 151 grams. So 316L stainless steel case here today, and look at it, it really does feel remarkably solid. Mind you, at 150 grams, most of this in the head of the watch, it should feel remarkably solid. We've got a screw down crown there with the Liv logo, nice and grippy, offering this watch 100 meters of water resistance, again pretty decent, adding to some Thule versatility. And look at those chrono pushers, they are just mad. I'm particularly impressed with the start stop up there in red. Very nice little touch. Flip it over to the case back and we've got a display case back there. I'll get into this movement. It is a Sellita SW500. I'll talk about that a little later on. Advertising the fact that this is the Live Genesis chronograph, 25 dual automatic, Swiss made, limited edition sapphire crystal stainless steel 100 meters. And there we are. If you look down at the bottom there, this is unit number 371 of 1000. First production by the Crown there. And they haven't gone soft on the dial either, have they? Dead flat sapphire crystal here with AR coating on the underside, as you can see there. A little bit of colour, a little bit of tone, and plenty going on. We've got applied indices apart from the 12, where we've just got that little double applied pip. We've got Arabics at 2 and 4, missing index down at the 6, and those 3 chrono wheels. Also the Live logo at the 3 o'clock and a frame date window. And onto those 3 sub-dials then. The second hand is the 9 o'clock and the chronos at the 12 and the 6. And if I press that big industrial pusher up at the 2 o'clock there, the chrono hand starts ticking bright orange with loom on the tip. Now this is the Sellita SW500 as mentioned. That is a high beat automatic movement with 28,800 vibrations per hour, giving this little hand 8 ticks per second. So in theory you can measure up to 1/8 of a second. The top chrono dial will tick over in increments of 1 minute up to 30, and the bottom dial will tick over up to a maximum of 12 hours. So you've got a 12-hour timing capability with this one. Push the big red button again to stop and reset using the bottom pusher. Now if I get in a bit of an oblique angle across the dial, hopefully you can see some of the different depths and textures. The outer ring, we've got a minute track there beyond the indices, and within there's a bit of sunburst where the 2 and the 4 numerals are located. There's a little bit of striping there from the centre outwards. There's clearly a couple of different layers to each of those chrono sub-dials as well, so plenty going on, but they've kept it fairly clean, just black, white and orange. Handset also quite clean. Love that big orange chrono hand there as well, and plenty of loom on them. Although I must admit the loom, I'll pop up a loom shot there, BGW9, so you got blue, perhaps not quite as bright, quite as bold as I was anticipating, giving the overall bold design of the watch. As mentioned, we've got a genuine shark handmade strap today in that slightly unusual 23mm lug width. Quick release bars there if you do decide to change it, but you are going to be a little more limited for choice than you would be if it was 22 or 24, but a nice effect there on the outside, that shark leather. Plenty of stitching there to be going on with as well, and a nice filled, painted, IP coated black Live buckle on there on the other side as well. Very nice, that one. So back to the movement then, where you would hope the majority of your $790 is going today, and we've got a custom rotor on a Sellita SW500. Now Sellita pretty much do ETA clones, and this one is a clone of the ETA 7750, aka the Valjoux 7750, a movement that has been knocking around since the early 1970s. Now that is a good thing and a bad thing. The good is that it's proven, it's reliable, they're pretty accurate, these ones as well. I'll pop up an accuracy report. It's only been here in the house for a few days, but it looks like it's settling in at around +6, +7 a day. So pretty much spot on for one of these movements. That's pretty much exactly what I got out of the Stratton Specials that I looked at last week. The downside is that it is only unidirectional, so you do feel a noticeable rotor wobble, and there is a little bit of rotor noise from this one as well, but it is pretty much par for the course in watches of far, far higher price tags than this one. So a good solid choice of movement then. And there is this big beast of a watch sitting on top of my 7-inch wrist. 55mm lug to lug, 46 at its narrowest point. It really is a bit of a monster. But hey, you're not going to buy one of these if you're the shy and retiring type. This is a bold watch brand for bold people who want a bold timepiece on their wrist. So it certainly does what it says on the tin. That's for sure today. Doesn't actually wear as large as those dimensions suggest, I must admit, but a real kind of industrial feeling to this one. Lots of metal, and do love those big pushers. So moans and niggles then. Well, the looks are not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but judging by the fact that the Kickstarter campaign is likely to top $1 million, there seem to be plenty of people who enjoy this flavour of beverage. If you don't, there's other far more conservative options out there for you. Now the Loom, as mentioned, perhaps they'd have been better off using C3, something a little bit brighter than the slightly muted tone that you get from BGW9, but you know there's plenty of it and it lasts a decent length of time. Also, I think perhaps though it's a little bit understrapped. It's a big chunky head of a watch. The Shark, as nice as it is a little bit thin. They could even have gone, I think, with 24mm lug width. I believe there are going to be some bracelets available a little further down the Kickstarter campaign. I'd be looking at one of those or getting a big chunky rubber strap from it. I think that would give the strap a bit more of a meaty feel that this watch has overall. But for $790 US, I don't think that's too bad a deal at all, especially given a Swiss-made Sellita SW500 chronograph, Swiss-made on the dial, and a 5-year warranty for these ones too, not to be sniffed at. So there you have it, the Liv GX chronograph. I think a lot of watch for the money. Not going to be to everyone's taste, that's for sure, but judging by the fact that their Kickstarter campaign looks like it's going to top $1 million, they've certainly found a market with these bold, modern and very contemporary styled timepieces. How many watches are they going to launch during their Kickstarter campaign? I'm looking forward to finding out. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.